Hi, we're going to work on finding the equation for any one of those three graphs. We're looking at x squareds, we're looking at absolute values, and we're looking at square roots. And we're going to walk through the process, and there'll be a couple of these Ed puzzles that you can do for points, and then there'll also be a Jamboard that you can work on as well. So we have this graph here, and the first thing you have to do is you have to decide which equation it is. Do you think it is an x squared, an absolute value, or a square root? The correct answer is that it is a x squared. So that's our first thing we have to figure out. The next thing we have to do is we have to describe the translations. So keep your eye on the prize. You're looking at the vertex. So if you're looking at this diagram right here, what is the vertex? Is it 2, 4, or is it 4, 7? Now, hopefully you said it was 2, 4. Remember that the vertex is the point where the parabola changes direction. So that's going to be what we're going to keep our focus on. This is going to help us write almost our entire equation. So if normally the parent graph, which is y equals x squared, that's what we're calling the parent, since we're saying that these graphs are all in the same family, the vertex would be at 0, 0. So we're looking at the new vertex and we're describing it. So we're saying, which way did it go? Did it go left or right? So the correct answer would be it went left, or pardon me, right. The correct answer is it went right. Then, how much did it go right? And the correct answer is 2. So we'll say it went right 2. The next question is, from 0, 0, did that vertex go up or down? The correct answer is it went up. How much did it go up? And the correct answer is it went up 4. So we're going to use that to write our equation. And for some of you, you're really new at it, and some of you have been studying Algebra 2 for a full quarter. But because there's a sideways movement, there's going to be parentheses with a squared on the outside. There's always an x right here. And then we have to make some changes to it so that it'll be a parabola that is slid right 2 and up 4. We've got kind of like a, or just cheat sheet, but we've got some reminders about how things get moved. Oh, that's not it. So just remember that when it moves to the right, it does the opposite of what you think it should do. Okay, just remember that when it moves to the right, it does the opposite of what you think it should do. So even though you think that a 2 to the right would be a +2, it's actually a -2. And then up and down movements are just like you would imagine. So an up 4 would go over here. All right. Now, since we're studying vertical dilations, we're going to not assume that it's just that there is a known number here, and math people from around the world put an A right there to hold that spot until they know what it is. So that's your first phase. All right. The second phase, this would get you a certain amount of credit, right, in the equation. But for the full credit for this section, we also need to figure out if this was widened or narrowed, if it had a vertical dilation. And that's why we conveniently marked a point on the graph at 4, 7. So sometimes you'll be just looking at the graph and you'll have to pick the point to plug in. But when we're first working this out, we've got one clearly labeled for you. Never ever use the vertex. When you're plugging in a point at this point, never ever use the vertex. So which point are we going to use? 4, 7. All right. And the way we're going to decide where it goes is 4 is the x coordinate and 7 is the y coordinate. So what are we going to plug in for the y right here? 4 or 7? The correct answer is 7. 7 equals and we don't know A. I mean, maybe you have some suspicions. What are you going to plug in at the X spot? What X are we using? The correct answer is 4. And then we're going to just recopy the rest of this. Now when we keep working from here, we're going to be using PEMDAS to plug in some numbers. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So in calculating it, we're going to take care of things in the parenthesis first. So 4 minus 2 is 2. So now we got 2 squared plus 4. All right, now we're going to look for exponents. So 2 squared, what is 2 times 2? Well, math people, we usually write the variable second and the number first. This can be a little bit confusing. This is a push point for understanding. 2 times 2 is 4. I don't write A4 because then I might be tempted to add those together. I write 4A. All right, we are now 2 steps away from the secret identity of A. I'm going to bring in my T-chart at this point. Hopefully that feels familiar. And now we're undoing. So when you're undoing, you don't follow PEMDAS. You actually follow what I like to call SAD-MEP. So this is PEMDAS backwards. See? PEMDAS. So when you're undoing, now you're going to do SAD-MEP. You're going to take care of subtraction and addition. Then you're going to take care of division and multiplication. Then you're going to worry about exponents, and finally parentheses. So that might be a new idea to you, even if you have some training on it. So what are we going to undo first? The 4 that's times the A or the 4 that's adding? The correct answer is we're going to work with the 4 that's adding. So how do you undo plus 4? You minus 4. So I'm going to do it to both sides to keep it balanced. All right, 7 minus 4 is 3. And 4A plus 4 minus 4. These are going to cross out. This is 0. And you're left with 4A. All right, we're almost there. Last step. How do you get that 4 out of there? How do you undo the 4A? You divide by 4. And you can answer this as a decimal or as a fraction. Now, I grew up everything fractions. I feel like you guys are growing up everything decimals. But you can say it's 3/4. Or what is 3 divided by 4 as a decimal? 0.75. Now this would get you almost all of the points on one of these screens, but your last step is to make sure you rewrite your equation with, you did all this work, you should at least get to celebrate the finished product. So you're going to do y equals, and I'm going to put the 0.75 in because I think that is going to make the most sense to you guys. So 0.75, and then the rest of it is x minus 2 squared plus 4. And that is the equation for that graph. And that takes time, and there's a lot of topics being considered in this. So that's how you do it. Thanks for hanging in there and working along with me.